For the next 2 weeks, we're going to do something a bit different here on the call. Usually, I can kick it off with a stock of the day. But last week on the call, a company came up called Archer Materials in front of the panel. And it's a company that's involved in quantum computing. And Henry Jennings from Marcus Today said he loves the stock, the company. It's off everyone's radar. And he said that this could be a stock that changes your life. And he was recounting the story that they had a competition within Marcus Today a couple of months ago to pick one stock that could change your life over the next 5 years or so. Just one that has the potential to go through the roof, but something that's a bit out of the ordinary. So I'm going to steal the idea and put it to our panelists over the next 2 weeks. If they had to choose one stock, a stock that would change your life, a stock that it has the potential to change someone's wealth for the better, what would it be? So I've given both Mathan and Gaurav plenty of heads up on this, or the weekend at least. And Mathan, what would be one stock that you reckon could change somebody's life?
Well, look, the one that I went for was actually my stock pick for ausbiz for last year. It was IGO. Yep. I think when you think about the macro on the concept of reflation, commodity cycle, you think about where we are going in renewable energy, the commodities associated with renewable energy, battery tech, so forth, all of those things, and then you put it aligned with high quality management who've executed well. I think IGO sits right there. I think it's had a good run. They've moved from purely nickel play with a bit of gold to divesting the gold to now lithium play. I suspect that when you're looking for battery tech play, and that's going to be played out over the next decade or so, I think IGO is one of those high quality miners with really high quality management that will continue to do well and continue to evolve. I think they'll keep adding to the exposure, and you might be looking at IGO as a future diversified play for the battery tech. It might be the dominant player for that. If you look at this sense, you've got BHP, Rio, and probably South 32 as your diversified play. And I think IGO might be the dominant diversified play for battery tech.
All right, an interesting one. Interesting resource stock there. Gaurav, it makes you think, doesn't it? One stock that you think could change your life over 5 years. What did you choose?
I went with an old favourite, Koshy, you'd know it well, Audinate. We've spoken about it many times, and for people who don't know it, it's it owns a protocol called Dante, which is a collection of hardware and software that controls audiovisual systems, and it replaces wired systems with a wireless network, and that enables you to set up more complicated systems easily and gives you more intricate control of the network once you've set it up. Now, the reason this business is so attractive, and you wouldn't know it by looking at any of the printed financials, mind you, is that uniquely, he's a company that is in a winners take all position. And most of the time, every time a company succeeds or shows any sign of success, it's met by a wall of competitors and a whole army of capital trying to breach whatever advantage they've come up with. And I think this is in a unique position because it will be a winners take all market. It's a natural monopoly. Whenever you've got one protocol that's in the lead, and these guys have about 16 times the devices of any other competitor, and that lead is actually increasing, then any new product that comes into the AV space by default almost has to have the Dante protocol. So it'll be very, very soon they'll have a new monopoly, and then it just comes to monetizing that monopoly, which will take years, but is a pretty high probability event. I might also add, Koshy, that this concept, while a lot of fun, absolutely terrifies me.
That's what it's meant to be. That's what it's good. We won't hold you to it, but it's interesting because Audinate share price seems to have sort of plateaued because there are no concerts going on, there's no outdoor activity, so it's just been consolidating its market. And in fact, when you were talking about it last time, my son, who's best mate with Hayden James, the international performer here in Australia, and also another mate is the music director of Peking Duck, he went and said, what do you know about Audinate and Dante? And they just raved about it and said, Gaurav's absolutely right. It just dominates the music scene going forward. So, yeah, it's an exciting company.
And that transition from sort of analog networking to digital networking has a really long way to go. So it's a potentially $1 billion market, and they will end up owning sort of 80-90% of it at very high margins.
Right. Okay, thank you too for kicking off our little theme, stocks that could change your life.